Good evening. We are so glad to have you back with us, and I have an outstanding show for you this evening. We have wonderful guests, as always, but tonight it's even better than before. I have my first guest is going to be B.J. Hetrick. When you hear about this young lady, uh, it's just fantastic. Everything she's doing, everything she's done, and we're going to get a chance to talk to her and find out some of the things that she has planned. Uh, Everybody in Pahrump knows her. Everybody in Nevada knows her. So if you are one of the people that have not been acquainted to BJ, tonight is the night you're going to be acquainted with this beautiful young lady that has done so much for our community, our, our, our state, and our country. So, BJ, first thing I want to do is welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you very, very much.
I am so glad to have you with us this evening, and I have an awful lot of questions for you, and I know our audience, they're, they're going to be excited just to hear some of the things that you've done, how you started, the things that you're doing, and I'll talk about that in just a second, and all the plans that you have. We have the things that I want to brag about is how much she does for veterans. And all of the things she does, no matter what she does, there's something for veterans in every show that she puts on. And we're talking about Miss Senior Golden Years or the Nevada Silver Tappers. Either one, she's created them both. But we're going to start with the Silver Tappers. And BJ, if you can tell us, first of all, give us your background. Tell us where you came from, how you got involved with the Silver Tappers. Let's go there first.
Well, what happened when I first came here in 1987, my husband was a contractor, and then I was gambling all the time, and I said, I have to find something else to do. And so I saw a little thing in the paper. I used to tap when I was a little girl, and it said, starting senior tapper, and I said, well, I wonder if I could still do that. And I went down there, and 3 months later, they had me teaching out here.
Oh,
And the students, I had two or three students, and then they knew more than I did because I was just a little old tapper from I was born and raised in Des Moines, Iowa, and I'm like the president. I stuttered when I was a child, and sometimes I talk funny, but you know, that's okay. It's okay, Tom. But
yes,
whatever
it's okay.
comes out, you know that, honey.
Yes.
But that's how it all got started. And now I know I've had over 600 or 700 girls go through my studio. And you know, when I first came here, Tom, they weren't doing anything but sitting at home and had nothing to look forward to. And I got the ladies out, and they started grooming themselves, and they felt, I can do this. I'm very valuable at my age, and that's what I instill in the ladies, that they raised their husbands, they raised their children. Now it's their time in life for them, and you can see their faces when they get up there and dance.
Well,
And
let me ask you this question.
yes.
On the ladies that you have tapping and dancing, what age group are you talking about? Are you talking teenagers in their 20s? What age group are you looking for?
You got to go way up, honey. I'll tell you this much. If the audience is receptive and really claps for the girls, I'll let them know the ages. Well, I was at a show about a couple of years ago, and I said, 50 to 59, come out. There wasn't anybody. I said, oh! I said, what happened here? They all got old on me. So then we said 60 to 69, and they started coming out, and then 70 to 79, and now it's 80 to 89, and now you got the antique 96.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yep. But the most of them, Tom, are now 70 and 80 years old.
And they're still tapping and
Oh,
still
yes,
doing
yes, 3 days a week.
fantastic job.
3 days a week.
If any of you have not seen one of their shows, you really need to. This is a first-class show whenever the Silver Tappers come out. And that's why they're called the Nevada Silver Tappers. They tap all over the state of Nevada, and I'm sure they go outside of the state of Nevada because they're looked for by groups all over the country. So BJ, we're just so proud of everything you've done, and the ladies that you have tapping, like you said, they're a little older than some of our viewing audience, but at the same time, they're still out there having fun and showing us how much they can really do for all of us.
Well, you know, Tom, they they actually told me I saved their lives. They were ready to commit suicide, some of my girls.
Wow.
Can you believe that? And now they're just so happy. And I mean, my reward, Tom, is seeing them up there smiling and having fun.
You know, that in itself is quite a reward, just to be able to see the smiles. Every show I've seen, I haven't seen anybody looking sad or anything else. This is something that is just an exciting thing to see. But tell me, BJ, how do you select the women that become Nevada Silver Tappers?
Oh, they can be 50 and over. Now we got a brand new group, and I think we got 12 new students already. They see these girls out there, and they says, we can do that. And yes, they can. And so I don't teach the beginners anymore. I have a wonderful instructor, Ione DeSantis, and then I have Kim, who is an instructor that does the big productions that we do.
Okay.
And they're dynamite. But I sit there, I can still teach. So I do that.
And you still tap too, don't you?
Oh, yes. I toned down a little bit. My doctor says, BJ, even a golfer puts their gloves up sometime. And I said, well, that's not going to happen to this old gal. I'm going to do it. I really want to keep on doing the military, Tom. That's my forte. I love the military. And incidentally, our theme this year for our Christmas benefit show, if I can say it right, the wreaths, you know, the wreaths for the veterans, that's what we're doing. Wreaths for the Veterans Cemetery, Tacoma Cemetery.
Oh, this is beautiful. Again, the contributions that you provide to our community, and as I said earlier, everything that I see you do for veterans or in the image of veterans, and all about the military. And we definitely appreciate you. We appreciate everything that you do for us. We appreciate everything you do for our community. But when you come out in your red, white, and blue, and I know you have so many different costumes. You know, the quick change artist, I think that's great. But everything you do is just so outstanding and uplifting. And it just puts a smile on our faces. And we're so thankful for you and everything that you do.
Well, I thank you, Tom, because it's like I say, the girls make me look awful good. I'll tell you that much right now. That I get the credit and they do the work. But the real show is behind the scenes, changing costumes. That's a fiasco. I'll tell you that much right now. But it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I can't tell you enough, too, Tom, about the wonderful care that my partner, who just passed away, Roy Barnes, with the hospice. They were wonderful for me. And I hope to be able to give them some money this time, too.
What's the name of the hospice you're talking about?
Humana, not Humana.
Nathan Adelson?
Yes, Nathan
Adelson.
The nurses' assistants, they're just absolutely took such great care of him. And and then at the very last day, went to that beautiful hospital over in Vegas. It was just outstanding what they done. I mean, so appreciative what these people do.
They do a great service for us when we need them. You do a great service for us all the time. And I don't know any other way we can say thanks just for everything that you do. You're there for us. You're there with a smile. We know you went through some tough times. And when you lose someone like that, it's very difficult. But I don't think any time I've seen you, have I seen you looking sad or anything else. So you handle it well, and you keep that smile for all of us.
Yes.
and you help us go through our tough times. So again, we just want to thank you. We want to thank you for everything you do. We thank you for the Nevada Silver Tappers, the ladies that you've trained and the ones that you continue to have trained to provide the service that our entire community needs. Now, those of you that are in Las Vegas and you may not get a chance, we're going to ask that you come to Pahrump and just let somebody know, look, I'd like to see or meet some of the Silver Tappers. They're all over the area. Wonderful ladies. And again, I give all the thanks to BJ. I know she wants to give thanks to all the ladies and everybody else that participate behind the scene, as she should. But her name is out front. If anything goes bad, we blame her. We haven't had to do that at all. But that's why she gets the credit. And she's truly deserving of that credit. BJ, is there anything else you'd like to say about Nevada Silver Tappers?
Thank you very much, Tom, for inviting me. It was my pleasure.
Okay. And when we talk again, I want to say that about the Silver Tappers, because in our next session, we're going to be talking about Miss Senior Golden Years. And that is another program, and we'll be talking about the age again, not necessarily your age, but we'll be talking about the age of the contestants for Miss Senior Golden Years. I got a chance to see the last show, and it was truly, truly outstanding. We're talking about on the level of professionalism, and that's what it's all about. So it's so important that we continue to thank BJ for all she's done. Nevada Silver Tappers, perfect. Miss Senior Golden Years, we'll talk about that when we come back. So we want you to stay with us, come back and join us for the next session. Thank you. Welcome back. We still have BJ Hetrick with us, and she is the founder, I'm going to say the founder and the guiding voice for everything with the Nevada Silver Tappers and Miss Senior Golden Years. Now, in the last session, we were talking about the Silver Tappers. We forgot to mention one thing, and that was when Mike Rowe came through. That was televised nationwide. Came through and looked at the Silver Tappers, what they were doing. He went behind the scenes, and then he gave them a big check. I'll let BJ tell you more about that. BJ?
Yes, I was so surprised. In fact, when they first called me, the production people first came to my house, I said, well, let me tell you this much. If this is a scam, I don't want any part of it. Because, you know, I couldn't believe this was happening to me right now. And I said, and we're not going to pay a cent. You understand that? And so they didn't tell me what was happening. And all of a sudden, the door opens up, and there's Mike Rowe. And my girls, of course, they went absolutely crazy, crazy. And what a jewel he was. He was something else. And it was such an honor. And so now I call them the famous girls seen all over the world, because over 5 million people, or maybe more than that, all over the world saw them. And I got calls. And if it hadn't been for the virus, we would have been seen everywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But
he gave you a check as well.
$25,000 he gave us, and we remodeled our kitchen. I mean, not our kitchen, the tap room, and it's beautiful. But he wanted it a legacy for the tappers to always remain there. And that's what he wanted to start. And I think it would have happened if it hadn't been for the virus, because it was very fresh in people's minds then.
Well, one of the things that people can do, if they Google Mike Rowe, R-O-W-E, and Nevada Silver Tappers, they can see it online anytime.
Right, right.
And they can see the entire show and see exactly what happened.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's move on to Miss Senior Golden Years.
Yes.
Tell us something about Miss Senior Golden Years, and I know all of our viewers, they're looking at this. Before we get into Miss Senior Golden Years, BJ, if somebody is interested, how do they get in touch with you to tell you, hey, I want a part of this? And we're looking for ladies, so guys, I'm sorry, Miss Senior Golden Years and Silver Tappers are for the ladies. So guys, we stand by and we watch them, and that's what we do best. So that's good. So BJ, how can they get in touch with you if they need to?
I can't hear you.
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Do they have a phone number they can call?
Yes, 775-727-7011.
Would you say that one more time?
775-727-7011.
I hope you've written that down so that you can get in touch with BJ if you know someone that might be interested in becoming a Nevada Silver Tapper or competing for Miss Senior Golden Years. So we're going to be talking about Miss Senior Golden Years right now, and I'm going to ask BJ to tell us about Miss Senior Golden Years.
Well, what happened, Tom? I had the fortune and honor of being Miss Senior Nevada in 1992.
Wow.
And
Okay.
then my mentor, she saw something in me that I never would have believed I would ever be a director. She'd take me to all the shows in the background and taught me to look at the lighting and everything like that. And so I was a director of the Miss Senior Nevada for 8 years. And then I started looking around my town. I says, you know, I have beautiful ladies right here.
All right.
So I'm going to stop the Miss Senior Nevada and go back to my own town, where I have to give back to this community who has done everything in the world for me, Tom. Every door has opened up for me, and I'll never forgive that. I cannot give the community back what they've done for me. And these ladies, I have what they call a Victorian tea.
Okay.
And that's where they come in. I lock the door till I get my contestants. Not really, but that's how we explain to them and stuff. And I think you'll know the first queen I ever had was Linda Cass, who worked right here
Oh,
at
okay.
the studio. And at that time, I was allowing the 55-year-olds to come in, but I got flack from the 60-year-olds because there's quite a difference between 55 and 60. So you have to be 60 years old. And the first pageant I had was in 2003, and we had 10 contestants. And I thought, I could have bombed. I could have bombed. But this community saw these ladies up there that absolutely, they come and they said they have no talent. We find talent out of them.
Absolutely.
We get it out of them. And that's how I approach them. I'll say, I know you're not 60 yet, but when you turn 60, I would love to have you become Miss Senior Golden Years, because you've raised your husband, you've raised your children. Now, honey, it's your time. And you know, way back, they might have thought someday I would like to be on a stage and be a queen, and that's where they're at. And we have a beautiful queen this time. I have a hard time with the last name, Tom. Marla Gertrude, is that how we would pronounce that name? Gertrude, our Miss Senior Golden Years this time. Marla, that did the sign language at the show.
I know she's beautiful.
Huh?
She's beautiful.
Yes, she's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
But all the contestants are wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. And they, you know, after the curtain goes down, it doesn't stop. Now we have what you call the Queen's Court, and they carry out those platforms that they talk about all the time. Well, look at Heavenly Peace. She was one of my contestants. And look at her now, what they're doing for these little children that needs beds.
Absolutely.
That's all from Miss Senior Golden Years. And I'm so proud of her for that. And all the girls, I mean, they take care of animals, I mean, and everything. I mean, what they say they're going to do, they do. And that's the reason I'm so proud of this organization. And, you know, and I have people that will follow through for me. Terry Rogers will be taking over on the pageant and something, because she knows all about pageants.
Okay.
And when I changed my address, so, but anyway, it was a great show, and we had you know, with the virus, I was a little bit afraid we wouldn't have anybody, but we had to put more chairs out. It was over 200 people out there.
It was.
Yeah, so it was very exciting, and thanks to Saddle West that allows us to do that. And but that's what it's all about, Tom, and it gives them, and even some of my ladies that are contestants were ready to commit suicide. They had nothing to look forward to, but now they do. Now they do.
You know, I know I've attended the last few pageants, and I'm very proud that you've invited me to each one.
Yes.
I got a chance to say the Pledge of Allegiance at the last one. But overall, like you said, with the audience, the participation, and the contestants, we had beautiful contestants. And their platforms, as BJ just said on their platforms, they're always doing something for the community. And they follow through on this. And that's why the community is so successful, is because of Miss Senior Golden Years making it successful. Uh, we want to support them, and I have to go back and say again, we support them because of BJ. Now, BJ says, no, we support them because of everything else they do. But BJ is, when she comes out and asks us for something, nobody can say no. BJ doesn't have a whip or anything to beat us and make us say yes, but you look at that smile, and how can you say no to BJ? And we don't. Nobody says no to BJ. When she asked the ladies if you'd like to compete for Miss Senior Golden Years, I don't hear the ladies saying no. The Silver Tappers for dancing, same thing. They may be hesitant at first, but BJ convinces them, and as she convinces all of us, that what she's doing is so important for our community. And when I say our community, our Nye County community, Pahrump community, Nevada community, the community of the United States of America. That's what we look at. And she's there, and we really appreciate everything she does for us. So, Miss Senior Golden Years, when the name came out of who was going to be selected, and all the ladies become the court, and it's just beautiful.
Yes.
It is so beautiful. And so, BJ, I know you're behind the scenes, and you mentioned Terry Rogers, who is stepping in to take over so much of that. When I was looking at having entertainment for Inspirations, for the senior veterans at Inspirations, Terry came to me and said, I can provide entertainment for every show that you want. Right. And she did.
Yes.
Terry is fantastic. So working with Silver Tappers and Miss Senior Golden Years, I know it's going to continue to be successful. So you know how to pick them. That's all I can say.
Yes.
You know how to pick them.
Well,
and I know every veteran thanks you for everything that you do for us, because that's what you do.
Yeah. I think one of the greatest honors that was bestowed on us, we are the official ambassadors of Pahrump.
Yes.
And then as Miss Senior Golden Years grew, they saw that and became the ambassadors also. So we're very, very proud of that. Couldn't be any happier.
Well, I don't think, we're looking at this in Nye County and Clark County. Clark County, come on over and see exactly what Miss Senior Golden Years is all about, and Nevada Silver Tappers, and see everything that these ladies do for the veterans. And these are all veterans. It doesn't matter which organization we're part of, whether it's the DAV, VFW, Marine Corps League, American Legion. They are supportive of every organization and every veteran. And we just can't thank them enough. BJ, is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
Well, we're going to be at Tacoma Cemetery. I have to look at the date.
That's going to be on Veterans Day on November 11th.
Veterans Day. Okay, be November the 14th. No. November the 11th at 4 p.m.
November 11th, which is Veterans Day,
at
4 p.m.
Yeah, right.
They will be at Chief Tacoma Cemetery.
Yes.
And we're going to ask all of you to come out and see them and see the entertainment and what they're going to be doing for Veterans Day. It's a time to thank all veterans everywhere, and we'll be thanking BJ and her group. And we'd ask you to come back and join us. Thank you. Welcome back. We're so glad to have you back with us. BJ, it was great having her on, but now I have another guest, and his name is Eddie Williams. He's going to tell you all about himself, but I do want to say that we're talking about an Army veteran, and he'll tell you about that as well. But just the fact that we have a veteran on after BJ, and BJ loves veterans, so they got a chance to meet before. They hadn't known each other before, but BJ got to meet him, and just the fact that he's a veteran is enough for BJ. So, Eddie, uh, Mr. Williams, I like that. Mr. Williams, I want to welcome you to the show, and thank you for being a guest.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Dr. Woods. I really appreciate it.
Well, I want to say some more things about Eddie Williams and the fact that he's going to introduce himself and tell you some of the things that he's doing in the community. But he is I'm going to say a new person to our community, fairly new, not brand new. He's been around for a little while, but not like the rest of us who've been there forever. And he got involved right away. He's getting involved in so many things. So everybody is getting a chance to know him and see his expertise. And we're just so thankful that he's a member of our community. So Eddie, why don't you tell us something about yourself? Now I'm going to switch between Eddie and Mr. Williams because I know him well, but he is Mr. Williams to everybody in the community because he is so important. On the show, if you contact him, please say Mr. Williams. When you contact me, you can use any one of the titles you want. It doesn't matter for me. It's okay. But for Mr. Williams, he's doing so much, and I'm going to let him tell you more about it. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you tell the listening audience in Nye County and Clark County all about Eddie Williams.
Okay, my name is Eddie Williams, Jr. I've been in the community about 4.5 years now. My wife and I and 2 daughters relocated from San Antonio, Texas, after spending 22 years there. I served in the United States Army for a period of 22 years also, and my occupation especially was a surgical technologist. So I primarily worked in the operating room, preparing it, and assisting the doctor with instrumentation doing surgeries, and I really enjoyed that. After I retired from that, I was a school teacher / assistant principal about 10 years, also in the San Antonio Independent School District, and I really enjoyed that. And then I transitioned after about 10 years. I became what people call a curriculum developer. And that term that simply means that those are the individuals tied up with any academic institution that's responsible for the academic content of courses, the test questions, and also the course objectives. So I've done that for about another 10 years at Fort Sam Houston, Texas, and that's where all the Department of Defense allied healthcare programs are located at. And really, really enjoyed it. How I really got out to Pahrump and also Las Vegas. My wife and I got married in Las Vegas 40 years ago this year. And we had started coming back to Las Vegas about the last 12 to 15 years, about every other year to celebrate our wedding anniversary on the Strip. And then within the last 5 years, my wife said, well, if we were going to move from Texas, we probably ought to do it before I had the opportunity to retire the second time around. So that's what we decided to do. So we came out here 2016 and started looking because I wanted to do something outside of the Strip. So my wife found out about Mountain Falls, and I told her, great, we'll come out here and look, but we don't plan on making any permanent decisions about Pahrump. Because I had expressed interest in Denver, Colorado Springs, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and also Seattle, Tacoma, Washington, because I like valley cities or communities with the mountains around it. And we came out here at Mountain Falls, December 2016, left a lady $2,500 earnest money deposit, and 6 months later we came back and closed on the house. We've been out here ever since. So with that being said, I'm not the type of individual that, since I'm retired, I just look at TV every day and play golf. Even though I do really enjoy playing golf, but I want to do more than just that. And I always wanted to be a contributor to my community, and that's how I kind of like got actually involved with the VFW, as well as the Pahrump Valley Rotary Club, and also kind of like got tied up with the charter school if we ever have that come to fruition out here. I was heavily involved with that the first time around also. So I'm excited about being in the community. I feel and I believe that I'm making positive contribution to the community, and that's exactly what I want to do. And in a nutshell, that's kind of like a little bit about me.
Eddie, I'm so glad you gave that background, and now everybody knows exactly who Mr. Eddie Williams is. And when you talked about coming to Pahrump, I think everybody listening can have that same story. We came and we looked at Pahrump and said, no, we were going to be looking at this town or this town or this state, and there were a lot of other choices. But we came back to Pahrump, and once we settled in here, we say, this is home. And so now we're Pahrumpians. So for those of you in Clark County that are watching, come on over and have a look at Pahrump. You don't need to stay, but if you want to, there's room for you. I think, as Eddie stated, all the things that he got involved in, just because, yeah, he's retired, but he wants to be a credit to the community. And so he's serving in so many different areas. And we're going to be talking about those. And there's so many things that he has covered. He mentioned the fact that he got involved with the Pahrump Valley Rotary Club. And I'm going to ask him to tell you more about that, because that's a lot of what we're doing right now. And it's so important. But Eddie, with everything that you're doing, if somebody wanted to call and ask you about what's going on and how you got involved and what you're doing, do you have a phone number that they can call you and talk to you on?
Yes, I do have a phone number, and that phone number is area code 210, which is from Texas, not here because that's where I came from. But it's 210-573-6161. And my email address is ewill924@aol.com. So
Okay, I'm going to ask you to repeat those, because people that are writing, sometimes they need a second time. So do the phone number and then the email address one more time.
Okay, so the phone number is area code 210-573-6161. The email address is ewill92482@aol.com.
Okay. And with that, you can reach Eddie and ask him all the questions about all the things that he's going to be talking about. He's going to be talking a lot about the Rotary, but don't forget he's also involved with the VFW, and there are things going over there that are so important that people need to know about. As a veteran, he participates with veterans. When we have veteran programs here, he's a part of it. As a veteran, we really appreciate everything that he's getting involved in. And his expertise, his background, is really helping us in so many areas. So I'm going to turn it back to Eddie and let him tell you more about what he's doing.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Waters, for doing that. First, I just start off with the Rotary Club. And I've been a member of Rotarian for 2.5 years now. As soon as I joined Rotary 2.5 years ago, I got actually involved with a lot of the wheelchair accessibility ramps and all of the different projects that this club does locally, and we do quite a few projects. And I really enjoyed the camaraderie with the fellow Rotarians, because they're all a bunch of people that want to get things done to help people in the community. And I'm all about that, so I really enjoy the networking and the fellowship that I have with each and every one of them on all of our projects that we do. But anyway, Rotary. I always have a lot of questions that people ask me about what is Rotary and what does Rotary does. And because I was the membership chairman last year and also the program chairman, so I had kind of like dual roles there. But basically what Rotary is a global network of 1.2 million members, friends, leaders, and community leaders that want to get things done within the community. It's over 35,000 clubs located in approximately 167 countries around the world. So as you can see, it's a worldwide global organization. And basically, they want to work with projects that's going to be sustainable. In other words, we don't like to go out there and just do one thing, kind of like fix a problem, fix the issue, and then be finished with it, and then the people that we did it for once it breaks or whatever, they don't know how to respond or repair it or whatever. We like to make it sustainable, get them the skills and expertise that they need in order to maintain it. So that way, we kind of like what's the impetus, and we kind of like might provide them financial assistance, but we want to help people be more self-reliable and sustainable. But some of the things, Rotary is, like I said, is a worldwide global organization, so they have about 6 different areas of focus that Rotary worldwide focuses on. One of the ones, it fight diseases. So Rotary has been heavily involved in eradicating the polio virus, deadly virus, ever since 1984, and probably before then. But I know they had a heavy emphasis since 1984. And pretty much they have been the catalyst of eradicating it. And the last report I heard on it within about a week ago, I think it was like 1 case, I think, either in Afghanistan or Pakistan, where somebody had developed the polio virus. So they've been heavily involved in that. They're responsible for providing clean water, sanitation, and hygiene. As you all know, in a lot of the third world countries, and Mexico to our south here in the United States, a lot of people that live in the rural area do not have clean water, they do not have indoor sanitation or plumbing. So we're responsible, the Rotary is responsible for helping people with that. Also, they're involved heavily with saving mothers and children. There's a lot of kids that die in childbirth, again, in a lot of these developing countries because they just don't have access to adequate health care. So Rotary is heavily involved with getting teams of doctors, with providing funding to sort of like build medical clinics in order to help save mothers and kids' lives.
Eddie,
yes.
I'm just going to stop you there only because I know we want to cover all the things that Rotary is doing. And I do want to come back and talk about the ramp building because I think it's so important that so many of our listeners may not be aware of exactly what you do with ramps. But there's a lot of things for Rotary, and you're leading all of this. So I'm going to ask them to come back and join us in our next session.
Okay.
Welcome back. We still have our Mr. Eddie Williams. He's the president of the Pahrump Valley Rotary Club. And we were talking about Rotary and some of the things that they do. I'm going to ask Mr. Williams to go ahead and talk about the ramps, but he's got a lot of other things he wants to cover as well. So he can cover those things that he was really on a roll for, and then we can get back into ramps. It's okay. However he wants to produce it, it's up to him. So Mr. Williams, back to you.
Okay. So I just finished this area of focus here. Like I said, support education, grow local economy, promote peace. And like I said, here locally, we adopted Charlton Elementary School and provided a project together we read for pre-kinder through 2nd grade. And that started to help kids, pre-kinders, as well as parents become better readers. Because we understand, the research says that when you're a great reader, you're more likely to be successful academically, but also financially throughout your entire life. So we do that locally here in the community. We also are very important that people understand how our government got started and it functions. So we provide Constitution to Rosemary Clark Elementary School. And we've done the project last year. We're going to be doing it this year. We're going to be donating about 400 pocket-sized Constitution to the 8th graders this year. And basically, the kids going to have from like October until like probably about towards the end of February, first part of March, to develop either art project explaining how they can understand the Constitution better, written essay to understand how they can understand the Constitution better, or a hands-on project. The winner of the project, the students would get a $100 gift card from the Rotary Club, and the teachers would also be getting like $150 for helping the students prepare these projects. And we think that's one thing that's greatly needed, not only in our community, but in our public school system, but throughout the United States, because a lot of people just do not understand it. One of some of the things about the ramp, we do build ramps for disabled veterans, but not only disabled veterans, we also build ramps for senior citizens that have limited mobility through a disease process, accident, injury, whatever the case might be. And that's where we have a group of Rotarians that come out normally on a Saturday, and we got one scheduled for the 16th of this month on Saturday. And we have like between sometimes 8 to 10 Rotarians that come out there. And Rotarians have different skill sets. A lot of them, some of them like to cut and saw, and someone like to hammer the nails in, someone like to drill the screws in or whatever. But it's always great when we have the Rotarian that show up and to be able to see the smile on those families' face after we complete that project, because it gives them better access in and out of their homes. So they really appreciate the thing that we do, and we don't charge them not one penny for it.
Eddie, let me just say that for those that may not understand, we talk about ramps. We're talking about wheelchair ramps for them to get in and out of their homes. Okay, back to you.
Okay, that is correct. And thank you very much, Dr. Waters. But like you just said, there's wheelchair ramps, so a lot of people that have limited mobility, that's what we do. So that's one of the things. Also, we all provide random acts of kindness during Thanksgiving and Christmas, giving $50 gift cards to families in need during that time period to make sure that they're going to be able to have a nice Thanksgiving meal or a Christmas meal for the families. We also provide sponsor the Rotary Club at the high school. We also pay for building schools in rural India and buying school supplies. Now, so that's part of the issue where we do kind of like go outside of the community, but I just wanted to emphasize this point here. The majority of our funds come from our dues and what we raise from fundraisers that we're involved in here stays locally here in the community. But since Rotary is a worldwide organization, the district kind of like requires every club to kind of like get involved with some projects internationally. And one of the things that we get involved with is going down to Mexico, and with a pre-selected founder that has committed at least 200 hours or 2,000 hours of community service work. We would go down there on a Saturday and Sunday and build a house for them. It's just kind of small, but we still go down there and build a house, and it's something that they're grateful and they're very appreciative of. And also, one of the other things is with the fundraising projects, we have booths set up down at the Fall Festival, which was very successful this past week, a couple of weeks ago. We do other different projects within the community. And we appreciate everything that the community of Pahrump does in supporting us by buying the things that we sell out there, because it all goes for a good cause, primarily back to our community. So the other thing people might want to know, why would you want to join Rotary? You know, like I did and so many other members around the world. It's the opportunity to be part of a team, helping to improve our community. That's one of the reasons that got me involved with it. It helps you become a better person by giving of yourself, your time, and your talents. And the talents is the important thing, because you hear people talk about vocational and Rotary. And so when I first heard about vocational, well, I kind of like know what that term means. We normally got kids that want to learn how to be a plumber or electrician or whatever. Well, you can have electricians and plumbers within Rotary. So if there's a situation where we're going to help a family, help an organization that might not have that skill set, and we got some of our members that have it, a lot of them will share that skill set, not only free of charge, no money. So that's great. And it's to provide good fellowship with like-minded people. That's also a great thing. Say now, what would be expected of you once you come to join a great organization like the Rotarians, a Rotary? Well, one of the things we're going to expect of you as a new member is to represent the best qualities of a Rotarian. In other words, just be great, be responsible, and be committed. Attend at least one monthly meeting consistently, unless out of town for an extended period of time. Participate in at least 4 service projects annually. And so you can decide what service projects you would like to participate in. And bring a guest to a Rotary meeting at least quarterly with the purpose of recruiting him or her to become a Rotarian. And Shelter Mehta, I say, who is the current Rotary International President from India, his theme is serving to change lives. So that's what our locally theme is that I decided not to make something different. It's serving to change lives. But the important thing that he says that in order to help us grow Rotary and make it so we can provide more services to more people around the world is to make sure that we recruit one. So each memo, he is asking at least recruit 1 memo this year. So that's one of the things that emphasized to our membership chairman. And also, I just wanted to give a shout out to Guy Pearsall. He took over his membership from me as a Rotarian, and he did a lot of hard work. He developed a great flyer, and so I wanted to just give a shout out to him. I thank him very much for taking over from me and all the hard work that he has done. With that said, just transition over into the VFW. I pretty much.
Eddie, before you get to the VFW, can you talk about your reading program for early reading, as well as the thing you have for first responders out at the...
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, the early reading Together We Read, like I said, at Charlton Elementary School that we adopted, we basically purchased at least 4 books, and we only donate 400 book bags, which would be a total of 1,600 books to families. And what we do there, when we've done some doing that, we have a project where the teachers, working with the parents, determine the winner, like how many pre-kinders or first graders read so many books within that time period. And once they win, what normally happens is that the parent normally get a $100 gift certificate, and the teacher normally gets a $150 check from us for all the effort that they put into it. Now, as far as the SOAR, which means Safety Officer Award Recognition Program, and that's where all of the local clubs in Las Vegas, as well as us out here in Pahrump, we would like to recognize all first responders because we understand the important thing that they do for us on a daily basis. So we recognize the sheriff, we recognize fire and EMS rescue, we also recognize prison guards, detention center guards, whatever. Well, we had this past ceremony in the downtown Las Vegas City Hall with Mayor Jane Goodman being the master of ceremony, and we must have probably about 70 officers and families there with all of the heroism that they had performed over the year. And they're not only supervisor, their department select what officer is going to be, and we go ahead and recognize them. And it was a great ceremony. The chairman of it, which is Jamie Goldsmith, asked me to sort of like be a member with her on the committee, and I graciously accepted to do that. So I'm responsible for all of the first responders out here to make sure that they get represented every year in Las Vegas. And that's something that we do. It's nothing that's preventing us from recognizing first responders here locally at our club. So I think it's great to do it there, but we can always have a separate ceremony where we can do it here also, because I understand that the Mesquite Rotary Club, they participate in the SOARs in Las Vegas, but they also have an individual thing for their first responders and there too, that they do it at their own club. So they sort of like have 2 ceremonies for their first responders. So that's great. Now, with the VFW, like I said, I've been pretty much a lifetime member ever since I joined that, probably about 4 years ago now. And I got really heavily involved volunteering down there. And primarily what my job is, believe it or not, is I'm back there in the kitchen working about 3 or 4 of the ladies that I really enjoy working with, and they really enjoy working with me. And I not only provide all of the toasts every Sunday from 8 to 11 a.m. And it's excitement for the members because everybody is invited to come for the breakfast. You don't have to be a VFW member or whatever. You just invited to come. But just for me to hear and see members tell me, Eddie, that we really enjoy the breakfast at a very reasonable price and enjoy the toast that you prepare every Sunday, that's a thrill, excitement that I get out of it. And then just being able to share with other veterans things about how they access their benefits that I'm aware of, because I'm also a Nevada veteran advocate also. So I've been through some additional training to be able to prepare myself to be able to share information with other veterans.
Eddie, I really appreciate everything you've said, and I hope everybody has listened to that, and I hope they wrote down your phone number so they can get in touch with you if they have any questions. There's so much going on with the Rotary, so much going on with the VFW. Mr. Eddie Williams is a compliment to our community, and that also includes your community in Clark County, Nye County, doesn't matter where it is. But come back and join us next month because we'll have more exciting guests for you at that time. Thank you, and have a good evening.